We're reading Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi-lila, chapter 14. Lord Chaitanya's childhood pastimes, text 67. Which one is that? 67, right? Lakshmi Tanda Adi-lila Pushpa Chandana. Lakshmi Tanda Adi-lila Pushpa Chandana. Malikara Maladiya Karila Vandana. Malikara Maladiya Karila Vandana. Lakshmi Tanda Adi-lila Pushpa Chandana. Malikara Maladiya Karila Vandana. There is text 68 there, so I'll read now and then we can repeat both together. Prabhu Tanda Puja Pane Hashite Lagila. Prabhu Tanda Puja Pana Hashite Lagila. Sloka Paditanda Bhava Angikara Kaila. Sloka Paditanda Bhava Angikara Kaila. Prabhutanda Puja Pana Hashite Lagila. Shloka Paditanda Bhava Angikara Kaila. Okay, word by word. Lakshmi Devi. Tanda his Ange on the body. Dila gave. Pushpa flowers. Chandana sandalwood pulp. Malikara of the flower of the name Malika. Mala garland. Diya giving. Karila offered. Bandhana prayers. Translation. On hearing the order of the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lakshmi immediately worshipped him, offering sandalwood pulp and flowers for his body, garlanding him with Malika flowers, and offering prayers to the Lord. Text 68. Prabhu, the Lord. Tanda, heard. Puja, worship. Pana, receiving. Hasite, to smile. Lagila, began. Shloka Padi, reciting one verse. Tanda, her. Bhava, emotion. Angikara, Angikara Kaila, accepted. Being worshipped by Lakshmi, the Lord began to smile. He recited a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam and thus accepted the emotion she expressed. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The verse quoted in this connection is the 25th verse of the 22nd chapter, 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Can someone look at that up? All those. I mean, not everybody, maybe just. Is it the 25th verse of the 22nd chapter of the 10th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam? Prabhupada continues, the gopis worship the goddess Durga or Katyayani, but their inner desire was to get Lord Krishna as their husband. Krishna as Paramatma could realize the ardent desire of the gopis, and therefore he enjoyed the pastime of Vashtra Harana. When the gopis went to take bath in the river Jamuna, they left the garments on the land and dipped into the water completely naked. Taking this opportunity, Krishna stole all their garments and sat down in the top of a tree with them, desiring to see the girls naked. You can read it. Desiring to see the girls naked, just to become their husband. The gopis desired to have Krishna as their husband. And since it is only before her husband that a woman can be naked to fulfill their desire, Lord Krishna accepted their prayers by this pastime of stealing the garments. When the gopis received their garments back from Krishna, Krishna recited this verse. Oh, it's here. Silly me. Anyway, thank you. Sankalpo vidita satvyo bhavatinam mat archanam maya numodita saso satyavavitum. Anyway, this is for next week, but we're going to read it. My dear gopis, I accept your desire to have me as your husband and thus worship me. I wish your desire to be fulfilled because it deserves to be so. Anyway, let's all read the purpose, so don't break the... Jeez, thank you. Om Agyanati Mirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namne Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesha Sunyavari Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvyaevacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. So, anybody can tell me any of the words here? Anyone remember any word? I mean, these are words that we use all the time, so.
Mala.
Huh?
Mala.
Mala? Garland. Yeah, another one?
Mala.
67? Which one?
68.
68, okay.
Emotion.
Bhava, emotion.
Yeah.
Nice.
Puja, to worship.
Puja, yeah, to worship. Great. Anyone else? There's one that we always say.
Prabhu.
Prabhu. Right? Prabhu means what? Huh? Yeah, the Lord. Yeah, Krishna, so Prabhu, Mahaprabhu. Anything else? That's a good one. Yeah. Pushpa Chandana. Pushpa is flower and Chandana is sandal. Anyone else? Another one? Vandana. Yeah, that's the one. Which means? Vandana, prayers. Okay.
Mala.
Mala. Yeah, Prabhu said.
We have one.
Yeah. Prabhu said, yeah, nice. So, this was a prediction. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati predicted that there will be a time when the Westerners will learn Bengali and read Chaitanya Charitamrita. Right? That's the prediction. So, I was just checking if there's no Bengali around. I don't know if the Bengalis will understand our pronunciation of Bengali, but we try. They laugh. Sometimes they laugh when we quote verses. Prabhupada liked it a lot. So this was the prediction, that one day the world will know about Lord Chaitanya. Who would know, Prabhupada said in one Vyasa Puja, of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. He says, who would know that Krishna will bring you to me? Who will know? Who would have known? He said, that Krishna would have brought me to him, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And we can further that statement. Who would know which people will from now on come our way to Krishna consciousness? And then we can play a part in that. Yesterday, I was talking to Mantra Prabhu, and he was telling me the stories of some of the devotees here, some of the surfers, and some of the intricate arrangements that Krishna made to pick up one and pick up the other, then bring them here, and like that, amazing. So these are the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in these particular verses, as we mentioned, this whole section, not the whole section, not the whole chapter, but quite a lot of verses are basically a, what do you call that? Like a fax, right? You get a paper sheet, and then you put it through the fax. Remember the good old fax? Yeah. So it's basically a replica of Lord Krishna's pastimes with the gopis. So very nice to hear this. I don't know, Chaitanya Charitamrita has a particular flavor, right? And when we read this, we remember Mayapur, Panchatattva, bigger than life deities, right? Panchatattva, like that, in Mayapur. So amazing. So the idea of these pastimes is that we develop attachment to Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada includes the summary of Chaitanya Charitamrita in in the introduction of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? And I mentioned this before, that when I read that, I thought, why would that be there when this is supposed to be, the topmost exalted subject matter? Srila Prabhupada says it's PhD material. ABC is Bhagavad Gita. Some of us are still struggling with the ABC, whether to know it or to apply it for a sustainable period of time. And then Bhagavatam, and then Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I believe it was in 88 or 89, I forgot, maybe somebody remembers. There was a resolution. You remember that resolution? That in every temple, Chaitanya Charitamrita must be read. Remember? Huh? Why? Let me tell a bit of background story. Because at some point, and some of you surely will remember this, our preaching was very, very strong, right? Right? No, and I'll say our preaching, meaning the preachers of that era. And it was just chastisement and punishment, and we had some selected verses that we will repeat, especially if you were wearing saffron, and some of us so-called brahmacharis, and we will let it out in classes. So it's quite shocking. I remember the first few classes. And then after you become part of that clan, then one of those heavy classes, it was like so good, so good. They will go to the ashram and we'll rejoice the nectar, right? I remember once there was one Matai, Nanda Dajini Matai, Argentinian Prabhupada disciple. And, we were disrespectful, I should say, towards women. She said, I curse you all to get married. Because we were, brand new saffron clothes, and whenever somebody went to India, they would bring the chadars and the all the paraphernalia, so we're this color. And then she said, I curse you all to get married. So the idea of the movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is that it's very nectarian. That's why it's called Amritam. And it's quite interesting, the introduction that Prabhupada brings, before anything, right? Before the Bhagavatam starts, he brings Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he explains, because the introduction basically it's 1.5 pages. But the summary of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Lila, Chaitanya Charitamrita mostly, but it's Chaitanya Bhagavat. Chaitanya Bhagavat is more the pastimes. And Srila Prabhupada, it is explained to us that he chose Chaitanya Charitamrita because in Chaitanya Charitamrita there's more philosophy. And Prabhupada was very interested in establishing the understanding of Krishna consciousness. Right? So Srila Prabhupada, from early in his preaching, 66, 67, he was already giving classes of Chaitanya Charitamrita. And I was mentioning before that 2 weeks ago that exactly at that time there was what was the important pastime that the world was going on. I don't know if that spilled out here in Australia, but I know around the world. What was happening at that time? 66, 67.
The hippie stuff.
Yeah, the hippie revolution. The Summit of Love. Bhakti Vikash Maharaj, I think, is the Summit of Lust, he says. No love there. The Summit of Love. So what was happening there, and Mantra Prabhu was telling me also some of that, maybe a little later, that was late 70s, but the mood was there. That somebody was asking, where can we stay? At that time, you get your surfboard or your backpack, your sleeping bag or whatever else, and then you just go, your guitar, and you just go, hitchhike, and that's it. And then he was telling me that somebody was traveling around and asked, I don't have a place to stay. And then someone told this person, he says, just go and knock in any door and somebody will let you in. That was the mood, the open and, like that. Huh? So just when that was happening, Srila Prabhupada was talking about Chaitanya Charitamrita in New York, of all places. And then he went to San Francisco. And then the explosion started happening. Like that. So Lord Chaitanya's childhood pastimes bring that added sweetness. We may say, okay, Krishna appeared, so why do we need anything else? In fact, in the Bhagavad Gita, 2 or 3 times, Krishna says, after this, you don't need anything else. Remember? In chapter 7, in chapter 10, like that. 2 or 3 places, he says, after this, you don't need, I'm going to tell you something that you don't need anything else. Right? So every time I read that in the beginning, I thought, okay, but then that's it. Why don't Bhagavad Gita stops there? Why Bhagavatam? Why so many books? Like that. But it's because the nectar, the flavor, the relishing becomes intensified the more this is. But Lord Chaitanya's pastime have a particular taste. It's like you may eat a particular preparation, halava or something, whatever your favorite food is. And then you taste someone maybe coming from elsewhere or in a particular festival. Here in Radhastami, here in Govardhan, New Govardhan, it's hard to keep up. This festival, that festival, and then we think, oh wow, Radhastami, that feast was amazing. And then another festival comes, and then amazing, it's amazing. It's just like incredible. So, the added taste of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Prabhupada gives away that in the introduction of Srimad Bhagavatam. But what do you think Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's added sweetness, added flavor to Krishna is? What is your particular observation or realization or experience in regards to this? Anyone?
He was like the perfect example of always striving to be like in a devotee.
Okay. Good. He
Krishna
gave.
can't do that himself, but starts through kind of
Right.
development.
Right. And Krishna is a little naughty. Even when he grows, some Vedic rules he apparently or externally, he breaks and things like that. Of course, the Acharyas explained that he never breaks any rule because he's the absolute, he's Swarat, therefore he can do whatever he wants. But Lord Chaitanya presents the perfect example. Okay, that's one, that's very technical. Anything else? Why Lord Chaitanya particularly is especially sweet, his pastimes? Why is he, we may say, some extra added flavor to Krishna's lila? Your realization doesn't have to be anything from the Acharya.
That he's come in the mood of a devotee, he's showing us by his personal example, shows so much deep compassion that he's so kind that he showed by his personal example.
Okay.
He didn't demand, he just showed.
Right. Okay. So he doesn't demand, he shows, Prabhupada used to quote, first deserve, then desire. He used to say that. Deserve and then desire. Anyone else?
I mean, you see that if you combine the can you say that the original object of love and the original lover and the object of love, if you combine them in one, I mean, it has to be intensely sweet. Because it's like this combination of Radha and Krishna come in one.
Right.
So that's like a very special feature of Lord Chaitanya, because it's like the meeting of these two sentiments in one person. So it has to be flowing with love all over.
Inconceivable. Right. Inconceivably sweet. Tasty. Great. Thank you. Anyone else,
I
Prabhu?
was thinking in the Sri Charitamrita where it says it gives us a taste for that nectar for which we're always anxious. So Lord Chaitanya was tasting that.
Right.
More extreme than we can do, but still we get inspired. Somebody tasting that level.
Good thinking. Thank you. You ruined my punchline. You ruined my punchline, I said.
Have a good offer?
Yeah, good. Good ruining. Because I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna, that's great. Thank you, Bill. Nectar. Yeah, the nectar. Anyone else? Why Lord Chaitanya is particularly sweet?
I think that one of the things that also is a characteristic for Lord Chaitanya is this mood of separation.
Right.
This intense separation that it's very characteristic for him. Of course, that's also the love from the gopis.
Right.
That is, especially in the later part of his pastimes, that you don't see
Separation.
in love. Yeah, it's intense feeling of separation.
Great. Separation. So that intensity is of love, vipralamba. It's there. So that's an added. Yeah, that's good. That's very deep. Anyone else? Doesn't have to be so philosophical, as I said. Don't prove. What does he bring to the play, to the table?
Krishna Prema.
How? In what form?
Kirtan.
Yeah.
For me, I really like Lord Chaitanya's pastimes because of the innocence.
Because of the
Innocence?
innocence.
There's, with Krishna and the gopis, we can get the wrong idea.
Correct.
Krishna's playing with the gopis, and but with Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda and all the devotees, there's no concept of that. And the interactions that they have with each other is so sweet and beautiful. There's like this childlike innocence in there, like when they're
Pure.
dealing with each other.
Pure.
For me, I really appreciate it.
Right. Nice. Nice.
Just one thing that comes to my mind is that he gives something that no other incarnation have given. Pure love of Krishna.
Right.
And open just this freely for everybody. That's
Right. So, ladies, you were saying?
Oh, I just said he brought the kirtan.
Kirtan, yes. That's really good. So, you can expand it. Yeah. Any, can elaborate on that?
Similar. So he comes in the mood of Srimati Radharani, and she's incredibly sweet and compassionate. And so he travelled all over India, spreading the holy name
On foot.
to everybody on foot.
Right. Okay. So, anyone else? Chaitanya and Mati, please.
Lord Chaitanya's forgiveness and mercy.
Okay. Good. That's nice. Okay. So, one of the things, and of course, Vaishnavi Mata, she mentioned compassion, but she didn't elaborate, so she left it there. It was like a, hitting the goal post. So everyone, because of Chaitanya being the unified form of Radha and Krishna, right? So, and not only unified form, but even an added layer to that is that Radharani is feeling separated, It's just mad in separation. Lord Chaitanya in Ratha Yatra, he couldn't even say the name of Krishna. Jagannath, right? Instead of Jagannath, he would just be able to say Gaga, Gaga, and then he would collapse and faint like that. He would see the ocean. If some of you have been to Puri, it obviously is very different than the Jamuna, but just because of his absorption in Krishna, he will see the ocean. He will just jump, and then sometimes, apparently or externally or near to be drowning, and then the fisherman will come and grab him. It's just like absorbed in that. Jamuna. It's practically love of Krishna, liquidify. So yes, but still there is something else that it's not said just yet. I mean, mentioned here and there a little bit. You got close, kirtan, that's there. So all what we are discussing, all what the acharyas, all what the parampara has brought can be realized just by chanting his name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But still there is something else. There's something else. I don't have $1 million, so I cannot say the $1 million question because you're not gonna get it. But anything else? What else Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to do and yeah, what else? Anything else? Chanting, dancing, what else? Huh? Feasting. Yeah. That we're doing quite all right.
that was the main point.
That was it. Here it is. The proof. Anything else? Yes, exactly. That is what he came for. Jaredeka tarekaha Krishna upadesh Amara agyaya guru Hey taradesh. Anyone you see, that's his order. Jaredeka. Deka, learn that word when you go to Mayapur. Deki deki. Let me see. Dekha, jare dekha, tare kaha. Krishna Upadesh. What does Krishna Upadesh means? Krishna's instructions. Krishna's instructions. And where do we find Krishna's instructions? Bhagavad Gita. So, to anyone you see, give the Bhagavad Gita. Right? You are great preachers, book distributors, and I know some of you go on Harinam and to all these areas, the Golden Coast, so-called Golden Coast, right? And give books, so many of you. Jare Krishna. Jare Krishna. Yeah, you have to give Krishna to everyone. But there is something else in the second line. What does it say? Amara Agyaya Guru. Eitardesh. So who's willing to become a guru? Right? No? Not yet. Srila Prabhupada wanted 10 million acharyas, he said. We were discussing with Prabhu yesterday. So who's willing? Who's willing? Who's willing to make that effort? Huh? Prabhupada said, if one person could do all this, imagine if many of us, how much can we do? This is a serious thing. I mean, we keep hearing it decade after decade, and it still is not sinking in, but it's a serious thing. Right? Amara Agyaya Guru Eitardesh. And what does that mean, Guru? Because I know sometimes we have this connotation about Guru. Okay, you become Guru, you become puffed up, you fall down, and many have, etc., etc. So we have all these things. But Guru also means what? Heavy. Heavy, did you say? Heavy. Right, that's the literal meaning. Guru. Anything else? What Guru means? Teacher. Right.
By example also.
Example.
Yeah.
Acharya. That's what Prabhupada said. So I remember one time there was this couple who was one of the first couples that moved out. In those days, to be a devotee, you had to live in the ashram. You had to give up everything, right, Prabhu? Yeah? You have to give up everything. Boyfriend, girlfriend, savings, studies, cars, anything, right? You entered and then you just give everything. Everything. That was the deal, correct?
In your watch.
In your watch, yeah.
And your hair.
In your hair, of course. I remember we used to have a ceremony when somebody joined, and it was ripping off the blue jeans. You know, the blue jeans were so dear to us. You may have one if you were really advanced, and then you join, and then after the person joined, I remember, getting all together and ripping it, This is your material attachment. Rip it off. My Levi's, my only Levi's. My surfing t-shirt. Oh, no, that one. My Pink Floyd jacket or something. So yeah, that's the idea that we give up things, and then we become serious, and then we become gurus. So anyway, in those days we were quite a fanatic group, and we didn't know what we were doing. We were just having fun, doing sometimes silly, stupid things, mistakes and offenses sometimes. Yeah. So one of the first couple who moved out from the temple, I was friends of him, and I recommended him for initiation. And then we were encouraging them to preach, to do programs at home, right? So, and they were like, no, we're fallen, we're outsiders, we're grihamedis, and, sometimes that was the thing. You get married, you're done. And there are some quotes and verses, that's it, Prabhupada said this, or here, there, Bhaktisiddhanta said something, like horrible things. I won't even repeat it. And anyway, so we were trying to encourage him, and he was very, very pessimistic. She was a little bit more enthusiastic, but they were so downtrodden because of they have married and they are outsiders, like that. Anyway, so my spiritual master, Jayapataka Maharaj, he came. So I told him, I said, Guru Maharaj, this couple, they have a house, and I was seeing more like an opportunity, right? Because in Chaitanya Charitamrita, majority of devotees were grihastas, and you see Navadvip was all grihastas, and everyone was just loving exchanges, prasadam here, prasadam there. That's true congregational development. So I was telling my Guru Maharaj, this is the early 90s, and he said, yeah, okay, I agree, let's do a program there. Because generally the programs are temple or some hall or something like that. So it was one of the first home programs that we did. So ecstatic program, he gave class, kirtan, everyone dancing, super, super ecstatic to be in a different environment than the temple, And so I already have told him that they have this issue. So at the end I said, it would be good if you can encourage them. So he comes and then he says, so how are you doing? This, that, like that. Being very personal. And then he said, so, I see that you have a nice place, so maybe you can use these for programs, etc., etc. What about doing something maybe once a month or something like that? So I was there, and obviously I was canvassing the whole thing. And then they said, no, Guru Maharaj, we're already fallen, ignorant, the whole thing, so useless, And then he said, oh, okay, so are you vegetarian? I mean, they both were initiated, obviously. But he said, are you vegetarian? Yes, you're vegetarian. Okay, so do you gamble? No, we don't gamble. You take drugs? No, Guru Maharaj, no drugs, alcohol. No. Okay. Illicit sex? No, Guru Maharaj, we're quite serious, strict, Okay. Right. You're a spirit soul? Yeah. We know Bhagavad Gita. We go to Prabhu's classes and we have a Gita group and all that. Okay. You're a servant of Krishna, Yeah. We know, yeah. They were very, very, I remember, they were terrified. They thought that he was just testing them, like their knowledge and just like that, And then they were replying to yes, everything, to GBC, Prabhupada, we follow, everything. And then he shouted, you know so much. You are the gurus of the land. You can save all this neighborhood, all these people in all these houses. They don't know anything of what you know. They don't know you are. Is that early? What happened? Huh? They're clapping already. They're clapping about. So they're a little hungry. So he shouted like that, you are the gurus of the land. So in the same way, all of you now know so much, and many, many people out there, any street, any town, any road that you go, I can guarantee you, just look around, and most of those people don't know anything of the things that we know. So I'm talking to myself. Don't take this as a... So what is stopping us to talking to these people, befriending them, explaining to them the philosophy? Sometimes we say, oh no, things have changed. Things were really spiritual in the 60s or in the 70s or in the 80s or in the 90s. Right? Whatever. It's the same thing. It's just the same thing. Same confused, lost, illusion or delusion, deluded people. They don't know. I often say this, and forgive me for the repeating, but I work as a counselor every single day, 8 hours a day. People are calling because they're suffering, right? They're not unemployed. They have money, some of them quite a lot of that, properties and this and that, but they are suffering. Their relationships, their health, their environment in the workplace, their own mind, so many things. All the time, one after the other. There's no one. Of course, if they will be happy, they're not going to call me and say, oh, I just want to share with you that I'm so happy in my life. No. They're suffering. And I listen to them, and then I give a few things, but I cannot give them Krishna consciousness, because otherwise they fire me. Right? Try to bring them to goodness. What time do you wake up? Do you turn your phone off? Oh, do you go for walks? Do you go to nature? Do you have any spiritual belief? Oh, okay. This is your mantra, I tell them. This is your mantra. I don't tell them the Hare Krishna mantra. I want a better life. I need to find a better life. Try to somehow. People are suffering. And we are enjoying, because we have it pretty good. We have it really, really good. Last night I came just to see the deities chant Gayatri. And then someone says, Prasadam, I wasn't too hungry. But then I sat 1, twice, 2.5, talking to the devotees, this, that, the other. It's just, we are, like Buddha Prabhu once he told me, we are better than in heaven. Sometimes we say heavenly planets, yeah? And he said, this is better than heaven. Better than heaven because it's eternal. He explained to me once. He says, not heaven. I said, Prabhu, this is like heaven. He says, no, better than heaven. Better than heaven because this is eternal. I said, but we shouldn't forget that we are here because of someone. Guru Parampara, Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual masters, the devotees, but particularly because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that's what he comes for, to give this to others. Of course, you only can give what you have. So the more you relish, you have that experience when somebody comes and says, oh, try that sarji, so good, right? Try that halava, right? In the festival. Oh, try the lassi or something. And then you are inspired. Why? Because they are relishing that, isn't it? Right? This is the formula for association. If we had Bayasaki just a few weeks ago, right? And then he was talking about kirtan, and he had a few programs. It was all kirtan. So as soon as you had the association of him, immediately you feel like, oh, I should do more kirtan, right? I should relish more of that, right? And then Chaitanya Charitamrita comes and he's talking his things, amazing. And I'm thinking, I should read more, I should study more, I should improve my, you get inspired in what that person is inspired, like that, So this is the process, and that's why Chaitanya Charitamrita is there. And that's why Srila Prabhupada was lecturing on Chaitanya Charitamrita in 1966 and 67, because he wanted to inspire others. In fact, Prabhupada says the only, like when you get sick, you take painkillers or whatever. What was Prabhupada's medicine in the Jala Dutta? What was he doing? He says that. Reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. He was reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is my only solace. This is my only nectarine, he called it. Nectarine, like that, nectar. So that was his painkiller. Right? So this is Chaitanya Charitamrita, the sweet nectar of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But let's not forget, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, these pastimes are not only for entertainment, but for transformation. So we can do something. Let me be somewhat more helpful, to others, for them to be. Sometimes my Guru Maharaj always says, sometimes it just takes a smile. Have you noticed? Sometimes people come and they're a bit lost, and you just smile. And, if you have the time or willingness, go to them and, oh, it's the first time here. Where do you come from? Oh, here, there. Oh, okay, nice. I saw a few people in the Kirtan Mela. And with my wife, oh, you come from somewhere here and there. I don't know. And I'm not interested really in all the details. I'm just interested in them having a good experience. Because this is the thing. In marketing, the main criteria is this. They don't sell the product. They sell the experience. That's what it is. It's a whole thing. Apple and all these big Nike and all that. It's like a whole, buying an iPhone. It's just like a whole thing. You feel like, oh, I belong or something like that. It's experience, So this product is the best, right? So I didn't even get to read some things that I wanted to in regards to the Shikshastra. But I'm giving class next Saturday, so This is just a little ad. Come and let's hear what Bhaktivinoda Thakur Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had to say about the nectar of the Shikshastaka. Any questions? Any points? Anything else? You had something? No? Mate?
As you mentioned that when you see patients, when you see the patients and you say that you can't give them Krishna because you'll get fired, but you try to bring them up to the mode of goodness. So I may be wrong, but I find sometimes the devotees, when they say that we need to be empathic and care for devotees, and they say things you shouldn't say to someone, like if they're going through something that Krishna wouldn't give you that if you couldn't manage, or that person, if they died, they've gone to a better place. But I found that it's not exactly what you say, but how you say it, and how, as you said, you can only give what you have. So that experience, because I was just listening to BVR Bhaktivedanta Library, the audio Prabhupada's books, and I think in chapter 13, when Dhritarashtra leaves home, it was talking about how Gandhari, when all her sons died, 100 sons, and Duryodhan and all the other sons, then Krishna pacified her by transcendental knowledge. So to say that, oh, don't use Shastra, it's the way someone says it. Obviously it has to come from a place of compassion, but even I appreciated Chaitanya and Charitamrita. It's also what you were saying, that we draw from the scriptures and we see how we can bring it to our life in the current age. And it's not that we try to put a band-aid. I feel sometimes it's like you're trying to put a band-aid and say, oh yes, you feel sad, or this and that. But it's like you're trying to blow on a oil, but sometimes you need that heaviness. It says love is tough.
True.
But underlying that tough love is that deep love.
Yeah.
So these days, in this day and age, I find people are like too soft. They don't want to say something if something needs to be corrected. And you feel like you're the bad guy. But there's love in that correction because it's done in a loving way, in privacy, not in a public space.
Right.
So to push aside sometimes, people push aside the scriptures and say you need to give time. So how would you, I don't know, what do you think about that?
Well, once someone asked that, like Guru Maharaj, and then he said, a nurse shouldn't imitate the surgeon. A nurse shouldn't imitate a surgeon. So if you're going to do some surgical procedure, right, you assist them. They are the surgeons, and we are just, Prabhupada says that in the introduction of Nectar of Devotion. This is a message for the preachers, he said, that we shouldn't think that we know, or we are experts, this and that. We are just helping them. So we learn from those who know. We observe many preachers and different styles and things like that. Yeah, I think it's true, but we also have to balance, because sometimes it may come across, it may not be accepted. You have to see what the person is ready for, isn't it? Prabhupada sometimes will call people animals. You don't do that, because you won't be taken, you won't be taken kindly, isn't it? Right? There are pastimes there. Prabhupada, Indians also, so they could take it, Oh, okay, so what do you do in the morning? He asked a millionaire who gave the devotees the house to stay when Prabhupada was traveling. The first trip, I think, was in 1971, when he took the white elephants, as he called them, right? And then they were there, big mansion, everything marble, in India somewhere. And then he says, so what's your program? So what's your program? He's Prabhupada asking. He says, well, Swamiji, I wake up, I take my coffee, my chai, whatever, and then I read the paper, right? waiting for him to go to the toilet, obviously, because that's the sequence. And then he says, "So you are a pig." And the person was like, and the devotees are like, Okay, so this is what we will do. You stay here, and they will teach you how to do puja and sankirtan. They will do sankirtan every day. Okay, and you just accommodate. Every expense they need, you accommodate, and they will teach you how to stop this. You have to chant in the morning, do your puja, this and that, and then you can do whatever. Okay? Yes, Swamiji, yes, Swamiji. And the Prabhupada said, don't do like I do. He says, I'm an old man. He says, I'm a Hindu saint. He said, he used the word in Hindu saint, or Indian saint sometimes he would say. So we have to be careful. But I asked this to many other preachers, swamis, people senior. And then they say, listen to them. You listen to people, because what happens if I listen to someone, if I listen to any of you for 20 minutes straight, I can guarantee you that I have earned my 5-10 minutes of your time. And surely if I listen to you, you will listen to me. So if I don't listen to you and I only, give you the sauce, oh, you should do this, you should do that. That's not a good dynamic. So depends on the dynamic, depends on the relationship, I think. And then that's what generally works best. Okay, but I'm not expert, so I just learned. So, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Nidai Gaura Brahmanandi.